Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Classic DM. We got another episode for you tonight. Now we're going to follow up from our last one. If you remember what was happening last time, Obscura decided to use her invisibility spell after a little bit of debating with her comrades to go scout to the south. Now remember, this episode we get the map turned a little differently. North is going to be to the right, which is going to be to the, your right is north. So that means to the top of the page is going to be west for you. Now we're only doing that because of the size of the room. We talked about that last time. And we're going to start moving our way south. Now the first thing it's going to deal with right off the bat here is Obscura is going to cast invisibility on herself. Everyone else is in position like we saw from the last episode. Everything's exactly the way it was at the last episode. One key detail to remember if you missed the last episode is that something moved past, an unseen entity moved past the group, and no one in the group actually detected it properly. And everyone got a good chance to try and do that, but no one actually was able to detect it. And so we're going to call, that one was called, the episode was called The Box. This one's tonight's called Eyes in the Dark. So let's get things rolling and start having some fun. The first thing we're going to do tonight, we're going to try something a little different. I've got a number of ambient tracks from Sword Coast Soundscapes in the background. I want to try queuing them up and doing them again because I'm doing local recording now as opposed to Twitch streaming. And I think maybe that will help out with the bandwidth. I know when I was Twitch streaming before, pulling the videos down off YouTube and also doing uploads to Twitch to the server was killing it a little bit. Now, if it gets bad and flaky and stuff, I'll maybe turn that off. But I want to try to do that because I got a lot of neat stuff planned for tonight. And if you've been watching the map drawing episodes, you know that there is this huge, crazy, insane, massive throne room. This is just one part of it. Good Lord, it's huge. The whole thing's been drawn and everything. It's going to be crazy. That's going to probably be a couple episodes away. We've even got a few nasty baddies to go into that one. We even got the king himself made and painted, so that'll be a lot of fun. But gosh, we've got some complex stuff that's going to probably happen tonight. I know what's going to happen. You may know what's going to happen, but we're going to have to play it by ear here and see what kind of trouble Obscura gets into. And let's get the ball rolling right now. Now, I wanted to always pick up every episode with where we were last time, so you can remind you of that if you're just picking up. Zolars is in the back, watching guard to the east. There is a dead Frost Giant here. All these torches have been snuffed out. So these are all different torches that have been all snuffed out. We've got Vrinjar hidden in shadows here. We got Felcherna the druid here. We got Elefanisi over here. And this is, once again, our cast of characters. Here's Elefanisi the monk. Here's Vrinjar the assassin. Here's Felcherna the druid. So this group of siblings here from the Tiger Nomads are here. These are dead Frost Giant corpses. These 4 red felt tokens are dead Frost Giants from last episode. Now, Obscura is an illusionist, and we've got Mercede and the cleric Antola. Let's give you a quick snapshot of them again if you don't remember, because they're not going to be doing much action here for a little bit tonight. So they're at ready. They have not rested. There was a couple spells that were cast. Zolars got damaged, but he's been healed back up, so there's no problem with the health level. But what we need to focus on right now is Obscura, and we don't usually do this, but because this is what happened last episode, we're going to do it legitimately by the book. Is we're going to be playing a sequence of Obscura with no one else around. So we're going to switch the map here real quick, okay? And remember where everybody is, and we'll, in fact, we'll take a quick snap with the phone here so don't make sure we don't make a mistake with anything. And that will give us a sense to return right where we were. So I got a little picture here. Good, I got a local photo, and we can get that right down. One idea I've been toying with, let me know if you like the idea, is I'm thinking about setting up a secondary and a third table, and even having you, the player, understand what's going on in the other rooms from the Giants' perspective. But we'll see what happens. We'll do that maybe at a later date. And the first thing we're going to have to do here, we're going to get the glass out of the way, and we're going to get this, let's get the next map pulled in. So bear with me while I switch this glass around carefully. There we go. And peel this up so it's now in the background you can probably hear these ambience. This is a track called D&D Ambience, The Underdark from Sword Coast Soundscapes. This is a gentleman, I believe, it could be a female, I don't know, from the United Kingdom that makes these, and I always like to give him a shout out, and I'm going to try using his stuff more often because I really like what he does. So we're switching the map here real quick, and we're moving into the next area. Now I'm going to rotate the map for you, okay? Bear with me while we adjust the camera a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this map facing north, and we're going to spin the camera around a little bit for you. And actually what we'll do, these maps have been in a map tube, so they got a little bit too rolled up for my liking. Let's get this tape down real quickly. Just enough so we can get the map down, get the glass down. And you can see at the top, probably, not quite. I'm going to adjust the camera for you with the camera controller in a minute. And let me get the glass back on without dropping it. I recently did a little tutorial guide to show you how to build your own battle glass, which is pretty cool. A few people really liked it. They want to know how I did it. And so I just decided, well, I'm not going to keep it a secret. Let me just tell everyone how we did it. And let's try to get this smoothed down a little bit so it's nice and clean, because we're going to be in here for another hour. All right. Let's adjust the camera, and then we'll be good to go. Good to go. Where's our star? Here she is. Let's pull this back a little bit. And what we're going to do, we're going to go up a little bit to where she is. Let's see if we can get this down for you a little bit better. Give you a better view. Okay. Alright, so as soon as she enters this area, remember she's completely invisible, alright? And she can't, no one can see her. This is the wooden gate here. It may be hard for you to see it. Let me just tilt this camera a little bit for you. So you got the wooden gate right there. See where she's standing at the north of your map? That's where she's come through the gate. She's opened the door. She's invisible. Now when you are invisible, you can open doors, you can eat, you can sleep, you can do all kinds of things. You can talk. There's no reason why you can't do any actions, but if you attack, you appear. This is one thing about the first edition version of invisibility. It's extremely powerful. So the first thing I want to have her do is she's going to move around over here very quietly and slowly. You don't cast shadows. And let me give you a description of what we're having in the room. One of the first things I'm going to do is put these gentlemen over here. And we've got some more gentlemen standing here as well, side by side. And we're going to pull this down a little bit. So as she enters this area, she starts to hear this in the background. So we've got this yelling and music. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And this sound is kind of emanating up from down below. You can hear some music being played. You hear someone beating on a drum. You hear lots of talking and yelling. Like people are drinking. And she's got the Giant Slayer sword with her. Now you may remember this Giant Slayer sword allows her to understand what giants are saying. So I'm going to give her a chance to, remember she's invisible, you still got to be careful that you don't reveal yourself, right? So what she's going to do is I'm going to give her a percentage chance to see if she can figure out what's going on with this talking in the distance. And it's kind of echoing through this large, massive cavern. Another thing we need to check on is the torch lights. So you got a torch burning here, smoke coming up this way. Here's a torch burning here, smoke coming up this way. We've got a torch here, the smoke's just kind of lingering and drifting and dissipating. And it's coming this way too, because hot air moves towards cold. And we've got huge, big burners right happening here, like, not burners, that's not the right way to say it, like fire pits happening. And that smoke is just going up to the roof here. This is a large domed cavern, okay? So this is a big dome type cavern here to give you a sense of what the space is like. Now, in the room, as you can see, we've got some frost giants, but they're not at high alert. This fella here is just sitting at like a huge, massive 10 by 20 picnic table, bar table, drinking beer. He's sitting here drinking a big old beer too. There's this huge, massive curtain that was drawn and pulled together and closed, but now it's partially opened. So when she came to here, because these guys are illuminated by this torch light, this torch is providing enough light. Let me just give you a radius of the torch. Imagine this is a computer game, right? This is about how much torch light you're seeing, right? And with this big light source here, that's overlapping light source all the way around there. So these guys are really well illuminated. So she can see right into this area here really clearly. She can tell these are here. I'm going to have her swing around over this way. Okay, and even though she's invisible, she's not casting a shadow. So there's not a shadow of her cast like that just because she's invisible, because the light just goes right through her. Okay? So that'll give you a sense of what the lighting situation is for that. And these kinds of things are important because they could affect your tactical decisions. Even though you're not playing a rogue, doesn't mean you can't do things in a stealthy way if you're intelligent about it. So we have a lot of light coming from this big brazier urn thing here. I mean, this is like 5-foot diameter, huge thing full of firewood burning and blazing away. We've got these two heavily armed frost giants looking more powerful than the other scrubs. Now, in the room she's actually in, we've got some stalagmites. Whoops, sorry. We've got some stalagmites that pop up towards the ceiling. There's a couple of kegs over here. There's a couple of kegs here. There's like a little buffet and hutch type table over along here. Above is a stalactite coming down from the ceiling. Another one coming over here. And along this wall here is all these winter wolf cloaks, all hand carved, not hand carved, but hand sewn, hand tailored. So it almost looks like this is kind of a gathering, gear up, get ready to go upstairs space. So anyone who had their coat is almost like the giant cloakroom. So you could basically just say that this whole room is like the giant cloakroom. All their cloaks are hanging up on the wall here. Some of them are covered with snow. Some of them are really clean. She could, if she wanted to, go investigating all that. But right now, the first thing she's going to want to try to do is get a line of sight down here. Okay, so when she looks through here, she can move back and forth this way and get a sense of what's really in this room from here. So she's using an old, if you ever play any first-person shooters, you can do a trick where you go back and forth away from the window to get a line of sight through the window. So she's going to do a little bit of that for a few minutes. We don't need to roll for it, to give her a really strong sense of what's happening down here. And all she can see is these guys here. So she can see these two guys standing guard right down here. Now we're going to slide this up for you a little bit and move down a little further in the room so you can see a little closer what's going on. There you go. And I'm going to pull. I'm actually going to do an old-fashioned method here. I'm going to slide the table a little further up so you can see this additional detail here, because I think this is important. So she's invisible, so she's actually going to slip right into this room and get by this curtain and to observe to see beyond. Now what you have here are these massive 3.5-foot wide blocks of stone carved with all these runes of frost giants with battle axes battling dragons and yetis being slain, their heads being cut off and them holding their heads up in the air, and all this, boastful type frost giant stuff. Along the wall here is this massive tapestry showing the frost giant king sitting on this throne full of skulls, and behind him is a dragon laying down dead at his feet. So a very glorious type of promotional photo, big woven tapestry along the wall here. There's more stalactites coming down, and this passageway slopes down. See all this topography lines going like this, okay? This is all sloping down. So this is pretty steep up here, and this slopes down gradually and gets kind of flat. You can also tell, she can also tell, I guess you could say, that these two fellas who are sitting right by these massive braziers seem very anxious and at ready, even though these two fellas seem very calm and uninterested in what's been going on. Now, earlier, some guys ran. We had runners that ran into this room. So what she's going to do is she's going to use her Giant Slayer sword. Let me just show you the party loot here to give you a reminder of what's going on with that. So we have a party loot tab that we use here, and on this you can see what the party has. Let's pull that up for you. So she has this +3 Giant Slayer. Now she doesn't wield a sword. This is an illusionist. The reason why she has this is because it speaks giant, and when you have a magical sword like that, it can talk to you telepathically. So she can stand here and telepathically communicate with the sword, and the sword can tell you what everyone's saying. So I'm going to have her listen to the conversation between these two, but I'm going to give her a quick little intelligence check to see if she can figure out what they really mean, because the language is a little broken. So if we roll her intelligence to left on a d20, she can tell pretty quickly after about 3 or 4 minutes of listening carefully what they're talking about. I'm also going to do, because these guys are hit dice 10, hit dice 10 creatures get a chance to detect someone invisible. So, but we'll do that in a moment, and I'll walk you through that spell. But let's just do this quick check on her so she can understand what's going on. So you need to roll her intelligence 18. 18 or less should be pretty easy to do. Okay, a 7. So after listening to the conversation here for a few minutes, it sounds like the guards that were that were up this way were alerted, and some went to investigate, and the runners came into this room, right? And they came in here and said, hey, we think there's someone there. And these two guys were really drunk. And they said, just go take care of it. It's not that big of a deal. They see no one ever said there was a bunch of humans coming because the horn wasn't blown. And the one guy said, if no one's blown the horn, I'm not worried about it. I'm just visiting. So these two guys are acting as if they're visitors and they don't actually work here or live here. So they don't really seem to care about what's happened. So with this curtain, the way it's pulled back, you can almost tell that all the ruckus that happened previously were giants who came from this room, and they went back to the room that our party was in, which is kind of turned this way. So if you do it due north, this is back where our party is above. So we had a lot of combat happening here where guys were filtering through this doorway and they were being choked in this kill zone. So all the guys came from this room, which we're just going to call the Frost Giant Cloak Room for lack of a better fanciful title. And nothing down here really seems to be alerted. Now there was something that happened where they had this wispy type of strange, undetectable moving object. That's all I'm going to say. If you know the module, you probably know what it is. Made it past here. It's nowhere to be seen. I'm going to give her a opportunity to now listen to see what these two guys are talking about. They're muttering to each other. They don't seem to be impressed with these two. They're remaining distant, and there's no one sitting here at all. So we're just going to do another check against her intelligence, a 7 again. That's pretty straightforward. These two here are complaining about these two getting drunk and not doing their job. And then when they get off their shift, these two are supposed to replace them because they are guards from a visiting Frost Giant Jarl, not the one that runs the full place, whose name is Grugnur. So Grugnur is the name that she remembers. Grugnur's not going to like this. So these two guys are Grugnur's guards, and this is the grand entrance into a massive throne hall where there is a huge, like, wassail party happening. There must be at least 40 or 50 giants and ogres and ogre magi and stone giants and hill giants and all kinds of ruckus going on down the way. So as she moves her way down to here, now she's getting pretty close here. This is only 5 feet. This is 10-foot radius, okay? So, and this is a 10-foot radius. So if she goes any further than this, it's going to be easy for these guys to detect her. Now, not easy, but dangerous, and she knows better than to do this. So I'm going to give you a quick little briefing here. This is first edition stuff. So right here in the lower left-hand corner, you see the invisibility spell. It's only level 2. It only takes 2 segments to cast. We always do our spells at 1 segment. To cause the recipient to vanish from sight. That's pretty obvious. Not detectable by normal vision or even infravision, which is like seeing heat-seeking stuff. Now, you're not magically silenced. So she's a caster. She's not wearing heavy boots or anything, so that's not really a problem. Now we need to go up to this area here. This is where things get tricky, okay? So let's just take a look at that carefully. The spell remains in effect until it is magically broken or dispelled, or the illusionist in this case, or the other recipient cancels it until he/she attacks a creature. So what does that mean? That means you could cast invisibility on yourself in first edition and remain invisible for the remainder of your life. Now, the odds are that when you fall asleep, you wouldn't be able to maintain your concentration on the spell. Obviously, if you cast some kind of a magical spell, you may need to, could think about what you're doing, be aware. If you're knocked unconscious, you couldn't do it. That's why it says you could, right here, thus the spellcaster or recipient could open doors, talk, eat, climb stairs, but any other form of attack is made, they become immediately visible. So the way I like to rule that is that, if you were to fall asleep, the spell would drop. So it's not like a ring that Frodo would wear that he just puts on and off and he just turns to disappear. You're not into another plane, just all light passes right through you. Now here's another key part down here, okay? Note that highly intelligent creatures with 10 or more hit dice or levels of experience or equivalent intelligence in hit dice have a chance to automatically detect invisible objects. That means players, the material components of blah, 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 blah. So this, even though these guys aren't highly intelligent, their hit dice is 10. So here's a little quick cheat sheet from before, right? We have 10 hit dice. AC 0 is 10. These guys do 66, massive, huge two-handers. So these guys all have 80 hit points. So they're nothing to be joked around with. They're close enough, I think, to give them a check. So here's how we're going to do it. We're not going to do a saving throw versus spell to detect. How do you say detect? There's no table for saving throws versus against spell or magic items or anything like that. The spell isn't be cast in an offensive way. Here's the saving throw table. That you would do all monsters as a fighter. So it's not like they're saving against spell. You have to make some kind of detection check. So what I like to do is, like I say, these guys have 10 intelligence, which is okay. Okay, for Frost Giants, that's smart. If they roll 10 or less on a d20, right, just like that, they will be able to tell that something is amiss, and then I'll make them make a second check to see if they can tell where it is happening. The moment they start detecting anything, she'll be able to move out of the way. All right. They would need to pursue where they think they see. Imagine you've seen footprints in the sand on the beach. If you see the footprints, you try to follow them. You get closer, you might try to wipe your hand out in front of it and see if you can touch it. So let's just do it for him first, 10 or less. That doesn't mean you automatically see it, even though it says it that way. Here's how we're going to do it. Ready? There's a 17 that almost rolled over. And there's a 3. So the guy on the right thinks he sees it. Hey, what's that? So she moves back very slowly, and let's give a check for these two. Now this guy's looking the wrong way. This guy's looking that way. When she moves backward, let's see if she bumps into this little table here. Now a way to do that is, you know, what is her dexterity? Her dexterity is only 16. Let's do another disadvantage roll on the d20, 16 or less. 17. So as she backs up, she backs into the stool. Let's see if she loses her balance. Let's just do a roll against her dexterity with 3d6, just a regular check, no disadvantage. Okay, she doesn't slip and fall down, but she bumps into the stool. Now I'm going to give this guy additional check. And he needs 10 or less. Oh my goodness, a 10. So he can, hey, what's that? He runs forward. This guy gets a check too, 10 or less. 12. This guy runs forward, takes his two-handed battle axe and sticks it out in front of him to see if it hits her. I'm going to give him a roll to hit at a minus 5 penalty. So he's not doing an aggressive type of swing. He's just trying to prod the weapon in front of him to see if it can hit something solid. He's also much closer to her than he was before. So this could be dangerous. Now she's tried to move out of the way, but she stumbled. Okay? So this guy hits to hit AC 0. Let's just get their sheets up here. To hit AC 0, these guys only need a 10. Okay? Her armor class is -4. So they would need a 14 to hit her. We're going to add 5 to that. That means they need a 19. That would be if the -5 penalties because they can't see her or line up the shots. Let's give him a 19 or higher, and he hits her. Okay, a 15, really close. I'm going to give him another swing as well. 16, really close. So he takes the big battle axe out like this, and he like tries to swing this way and that way and see if he can swing her. That gives her enough time to regain her balance and move back away. Now he's alerted. Let's give a quick little percentage check to see whether he's catches his friend who's like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? He takes a step forward. Let's just make it a 50-50 chance. 50% or less. He tells his friend there's something invisible here, okay? That's a 78, okay? You see that? 78. So he's still investigating it himself. He comes forward and stops, stands motionless, and looks around carefully. I'm going to have Obscura stand absolutely motionless against the curtain, all right? Let me do a check in the background and see what's going on behind the scenes here. Okay. All right. So she's going to slowly move. You know what? That's really dangerous. This guy's going to start investigating this area here. He's going to go look into this room. And when he walks past her, I'm going to give him one more check. So if he rolls a 10 or less, he's going to be able to tell that she's somewhere in this area, okay? That's a 15, so he doesn't. He just moves right past. Now, let's use some line of sight here, a little wargaming method. Here's someone's peripheral vision, okay? It's about 90 degrees, a little bit wider than that, 110. This guy's line of sight is this way, but he's not really alerted. This guy's line of sight is this way. He's not really alerted. What she's going to try to do is move between everyone and go around here to take a look down there. So as she moves through this area, I'm going to make him get a check and him get a check. That's a 5. That means he thinks he detects something. He's like, huh, what's that? When that happens, she's going to stand absolutely motionless and not move. Another chance, 13. He doesn't care what it is. He turns away. Now she's going to move past here. Let's do the same check for him. A 2. He thinks he detects it. He actually gets up out of the chair and takes a step forward. A 16 is too high. He's not sure what it is. She's going to quickly kind of slip back down to here. And as she's moving around this brazier here, I'm going to give a chance to see if he detects any. He looks to see what he's doing, so he's now facing this way. This is where it's very tense. It's going to be very nasty. Let's give him a check, but he's focusing because his friend has done something. I'm going to give him a +2 bonus, so 12 or less for him to detect something. A 13 barely doesn't detect anything, so she slips past him, and then she's going to slip down the corner and slip down to here. So I'm not going to change maps. I'm just going to tell you exactly what happens. The moment she goes into this other room, the whole soundscape starts to change, right? things start to heat up a little bit. So you start having louder music playing. There's more drums in the background. There's more like a Christmas theming going on. Someone's playing like a big flute. There's a big lute. In the room, she sees probably over 20 frost giants, a number of stone giants, a number of ogre magi, a number of orcs, a number of ogres, a number of hill giants, stone giants, and even a storm giant, all sitting in this massive, huge cavern that's probably at least 120 feet long. And there's plenty of guards standing around, and there's orcs going back and forth serving beer, and everyone's kind of chilling and relaxing. Everyone seems very happy. There's a huge frosty Christmas tree in the middle of the room, so it's like a Christmas celebration for frost giants. So with all that activity in there and all the trickiness it took for her to go through this area, she's just going to make a note of this and get the hell out. One thing she notices when she looks way down at the other end of the map is this huge throne, okay? And at the end of let me give you a quick snapshot of that throne. I believe I got the map right over here. I don't want to pull the whole map up, but I will do this. Let's give you a sense. Move this out of the way so don't burn our map to the ground. Let's give you a sense of what that room is like. I'm not going to put the tokens on it. There we go. So she comes in through this doorway here, and you have this sloping passageway that goes up like this. And we're going to zoom this back out again real quick. Yep. A little bit better. So we have this massive, huge room. She would be coming in through here. In fact, we'll just put her mini right here, right? But she's, as you can see, this table's got stuff at it. These guys sitting at this table, huge stalagmite, sloping thing up to a cliff type team here. Over here is more tables. There's all kinds of tables sitting here. Everyone's having a big party. Across the room over here is another large sloping passageway to a plateau. There's a coming and going of waiters and waitresses coming out like a kitchen area over here. Let's pull this down so you can see that a little bit better. You have this massive kitchen area happening here, a sloping passage that kind of goes off into darkness. There's a table with ogres sitting at it by themselves, kind of outcast. At the front here, there's a number of storm giants and hill giants and like guests sitting here. And let's not miss out the grandest moment of all. We have the Frost Giant Jarl himself sitting on his throne. You know what? And I think that map is in my map tube. Let's just pull it out for you. We're not going anywhere, right? So in this magical map tube, we have every single map we've drawn for the entire show. I'm going to pull out the right map for you. I want you to see this room because it's cool. We did a map drawing show where we actually drew the whole thing for you. You should go check that out sometime. It's kind of fun. Even though the maps aren't beautiful digital maps, they're still really, really neat. Okay. Where is that one? This is all Steading of the Hill Giant Chief. Lots of maps, lots and lots of maps. It is in the bottom. There's our mother map drawing show from the Tulum ruins. There's the giant room, the dragon room, hallway. Now where is my throne room? Ooh, is this it here? Ah, here it is. Here we go. I'm like a little kid. Here we go. Need more tables. Let's get this other stuff out of the way. Alright. Now we're talking. So beyond that massive room that you saw a moment ago, at the very, very end, she sees this huge, gigantic stone throne with this massive giant. And at this table here are these huge, big giants like this sitting, 3 big mega raid boss type guys. This huge obsidian adamantite carved table is in the shape of dragon bones and femurs. These are black obsidian adamantite, which you know is a drow material. There's huge fire beetle lanterns over here, a brazier here, a massive white polar bear rug. This throne itself, let's get this bad boy out of the way for a minute here. This made out of bones. This whole back thing is a spinal cord of a gigantic dragon. This is all carved with skulls on each end. It's all encrusted with jewels and gems. You can't really see behind here, but this huge, massive pillar coming up to the floor and ceiling. So between him sitting here on this raised dais and these huge guards up in the front like his captains or generals, and then you get back down into that other room where everyone's sitting there, you should go check out the Patreon page. I actually posted a picture of this thing fully populated. It is just absolutely nuts. It's going to be a real struggle for our party to charge in this room. This is a lot more nastier than the steading of the Hill Giant Chief. So Obscura has enough intel to give you a head count. She understands what's going on. There's the high alert's not really happening in the massive room. It'll probably take 5 hours to do that battle, so it's not happening tonight. What we're going to do instead is Obscura is going to go back and report what she's seen. But before she does that, she's got to make it safely back to where she was. Now we set her down somewhere. Where is she? Here she is. There we go. All right, cool. Now, let's go back to the room we were just in. All right, so as she moves back into here, she's invisible. Has anyone else here moved while we've been gone? All right. So this guy investigated this room. He walked all the way up to here. He noticed that the torches and stuff were burned out. When he comes over here and sees this opening, he can tell and see that his buddies are lying on the ground dead in the next room. That makes him very concerned. He doesn't like that one bit. So we're going to just zoom this camera in a little touch here. So this guy comes back into the room here. He says, hey, get your weapons. Our buddies are dead. And he's like, what? This guy comes running forward. They come running forward over here. This guy jumps out of his chair. These two are drunk, and they come running forward. So these guys come rushing up into the other room and go through the door. So this is a real problem because our rest of our party is up there, and Obscura is in the back. This is a chance for Obscura as a player to do something about this. She can't get back in time to tell her party what's happening. How can she stop this from happening? Okay, this is your chance to decide right now on the spot. What would you do? So these three guys are trickling in this way. She's here. She can move just as fast as they do. These guys are about to go through the door. Let's have her cast something. Let's have her pop out of stealth and cast Phantasmal Killer. Okay? Let me get the spell open for you so you can see how it works. So one good thing to do is just Control F in your PDF unless you have the actual physical copy with you. My physical copy is in a box in this basement. Phantasmal. That's a great way to spell it. There we go. The Phantasmal Force. There we go. Let's get in zoom in here. This is a tricky spell, very tricky. Want to talk about this? I like to share the DM perspective on this at the same time, okay? So what does it do? We're talking about this one right here, okay? All right, so it's level 4. It has a 5 foot range per level. So that means that her level, which she's level 10 or 11, I can't remember. She's level 11, okay? So that means she can cast it up to 50 feet away. All right, just to give you an idea how far away that is, when she starts to wind up and cast a spell, this guy's just got his back turned, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So this is the radius that she could cast it right through here, okay? So she can reach these two guys here that are running up through the hallway. But this guy here, if he continues to run through, he'll be affected as well. Now, what does it actually do? When this spell is cast, the illusionist creates the illusion of the most fearsome thing imagined, simply by forming the fears of the subject creature's subconscious mind into something which is the conscious mind can visualize, the most horrible beast. Only the spellcaster and the spell recipient can see the phantasmal killer, but if it succeeds in scoring a hit, the victim dies, okay, from fright. The beast attacks as a 4-hit dice monster with respect to its victim. It is invulnerable to all attacks, and it can pass through any barrier, for it exists only in the beholder's mind. The only defense against a phantasmal killer is the attempt to disbelieve, which is a rule that's not described in detail in the player's handbook. If you read my Patreon site, I talk about how to handle disbelief, which I use an intelligence and a wisdom check. But we'll see what happens first. So what we do here is the illusionist doesn't need to say, I summon the image of a drow priestess, or Lolth herself, or a storm giant on a rampage. Each individual character, each individual recipient of the spell will imagine the most horrible thing that's fearsome of them, whether it's a skeletal warg, or it's a burning demon, or a devil, or or Santa Claus or the mom. It doesn't matter. So whatever it is something that would terrify them to death. Literally would just kill them if it hurts them. Okay. So the only defense is to disbelieve. That usually only allow anyone to try disbelief when there's been some kind of physical contact. Like if the illusion tries to strike you and it just seems to move right through you, then you're like, what the hell? That thing didn't touch me. Is it a ghost? Okay. Which can only be tried once, or slaying and rendering unconscious the illusionist who casts a spell. So let's just do this for a minute. Okay. What do we got here? Let's use a Ramorhaz. He's a local funny. He's a local guy. Let's put the Ramorhaz here. In fact, you know what? Let's go all out on this one. There's no reason to hold back any stops. Don't hold back any stops. So we're just going to put this huge, epic scale, dual-wielding god of the Frost Giants. So this Frost Giant god appears and is completely pissed off and mad. And I'm going to see if I can rescale the map a little bit here for you. And I'm going to actually say, just for comedy purposes, that every single dude in the room is freaked out by this, okay? So that's their biggest fear. Their biggest fear is their god itself appears and says, you're not worthy, you allowed your comrades to die, you're all gonna pay the price for that. So get rid of the Ramorhaz. This guy's just going to appear here, 35, 40 feet tall, dual wielding 2 axes, half painted. Oh my god, not only is it our god, he's a half-painted version of him. So this dude appears, all hell breaks loose, and lightning comes down from the sky, and the ground erupts, and out of the ground is this frozen ice. He steps up out of the ground, and he says, you should die, whatever happens. So that means this guy here is like, oh shit, no shit. All 3 of these guys freak out. This guy turns around in the back. He sees it as well. He's just barely in range. Now we get to do the saving throws. Now, she just appeared from invisibility, but they're focused on this. They would need to deal with this first to see what happens. So the way this is going to work, read this rest of the spell here, right? Note that the saving throw against the spell is not standard. The subject must roll 3 6-sided dice and score a sum equal to or less than its intelligence to score in order to disbelieve the apparition. This is the only place in the player's handbook that has a ruling on this. The way I like to handle it, though, is a little bit differently. I want you to use an intelligence check, the disbelief check, only if you've been given a tip or a reason to disbelieve. It's like probable cause for a cop trying to toss your car or something. He needs to actually have a reason to investigate what's going on, rather than just saying, oh, I'm just going to randomly investigate your house. So the first thing we're going to do is the dice score modified as follows. They completely surprise, +2. Surprise, previously attacked, so they get bonuses. So as this thing appears, it starts taking swings at these guys. Since it only attacks as a 4-hit dice monster, right? Let's just go up here to the combat table. So a 4-hit dice monster hitting these guys at AC 4, it's going to need a 11 to hit. Okay? In fact, let's make it a fighter. Let's make it a little harder. The player, level 4 player trying to hit AC 4 is a 14. That's a little bit more fair. So as this thing takes swings, it needs a 14. Now, if you do it as a monster, that's kind of a trick. Let's see this. Just double check this. Beast attacks as a 4-hit dice monster with respect to his victim. Okay, so we can't do that. We're changing the rules. That's not fair. Let's go back. Go back to here. Where were we? Here we go. 4-hit dice monster hitting AC 4. There's your number right there, 11. Okay? So they only need 11 to hit these dudes. Someone in the background's grinning from ear to ear. So she's cast the spell. Now, does she need to maintain it? Right? So there's a saving throw. The dice score is modified as follows. Note the magic resistance wisdom factor applies. There'll be a resistance check, which doesn't apply. If the subject in the attack or succeeds in disbelieving and wearing a helmet telepathy, it doesn't matter. So area effect, 1 creature. So we've changed the rules here and allowed this to affect all these guys in this radius. So that's a little bit different. Someone who's a real rule Nazi might say I'm cheating on that one just a little bit. But I think this is a dramatic enough moment for her to change the tide of the battle. What I'll do instead is I'll say she's doing it to him. This is the guy that can actually die from it. What these other guys will do will be occupied by it. That's what I'll do with that as a... So let's just see what happens. This huge god appears. It takes a step forward, takes a swing at the first guy. It needs a 14 to hit him. He's going to dual wield, and we're giving him no penalties for main hand or offhand. So 14, right? Know what we said here? 11, excuse me. 11. There's a 16, that's a hit. There's an 11, that's a hit. So it hits him twice, the 2 hits. Now the way the spell reads, okay, The beast attacks of a horde that's my respective victim. It is invulnerable to all attacks. It can pass through any barrier. It exists only in my holder's mind. The only defense of intelligent killer is to attempt to disbelieve, be tried once, or slaying and render unconscious the illusionist. Only the spellcaster is specific, forming the fears of the subject mind. It is something which it consciously can visualize. The beast attacks a horde monster. Let's see, anything about the damage roll? Nope, nope. So it's hit him. It will kill him unless he disbelieves. So we're going to use this 3d6 roll against 10 intelligence. Just roll 10 or less on 3d6, and we're going to give him this +2 modifier. So that means that you would normally need to roll 10 or less on 3d6, but in this case we need to roll 8 or less, just for him. Are you ready? Here we go. That's not 8 or less. This guy is dead. So the vision of his own god appears and humiliates him and takes both actions and cleaves him in half. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a morale check for these other 3 guys. They are absolutely stunned. I'm actually going to allow Varinjar to move into the room, stealth. I'm going to have the druid come to the edge of the room, hiding behind these. You know, we need to move the table so you can see this a little bit better. I'm just going to tilt the camera because I've already got the camera blocked a certain way. You know you can have lights in that. Just bear with me for a little bit. There you go. Cool. Then we're going to allow Eliphanisi to stealth into the room as well and come into here. And this guy here is stunned. He's like, oh my god, let's do a morale check. This guy's, oh my god, morale check. Oh my god, morale check. Now I'm going to have her start winding up another spell. She doesn't need to maintain this spell for any period of time. We're going to have her start doing her Ice Storm with her Staff of Storms. So I'm going to give her an action to do that this next melee round. Let's do a morale check for these 3. The rest of the party is going to be moving down, but they're not on the scene yet. I'm going to put them on the edge of the board here so you can see them queued up to move next. That's probably good enough. You only see the big bright lights, big city lights. All right. So this guy's gotten cleaved and splattered. So we want to do the saving throw for him and him and him. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to do the same kind of saving throw I did for this guy here to see whether they believe it's a real illusion. Okay, because there was no blood spray or anything. This big thing appeared. It's half invisible. It takes a swing, chops a guy. He just falls down dead. It's like, what's the guy dead for? So 8 or less on 3d6 for him. Ready? Nope. So that means he believes it's real and his morale breaks. So he bumbles back into the wall and tries to grab his cloak and tries to flee. He's thinking about running back down this way, okay? This guy does the same thing, 8 or less. Oh, he actually makes that? That's 8 right on the money. So he sees this and goes, wait a minute, that's not real. So what I want to do now is I want to do a wisdom check with a penalty. So let's say he has also a 10 wisdom. He needs to roll 10 or less on a d20. He rolled a 12. So he's still confused, but he gets his weapon ready like he's going to take a swing at it. So we're going to give him an initiative check. Let's go back over here and see what happens to this fella over here. Remember, we need to roll 8 or less on 3d6 for him to... Okay, that's way too high. That's, what is that, 11, 12, 13. So he believes his illusion. He's going to stagger back, and right when he stagger back, I'm going to have Varinjar backstab him. So Varinjar's going to take a pot shot at this guy from behind, and we're going to tone this music down in the background a little bit so it's not too loud. There we go. And there we go. All right, let's get Varinjar up. Where is our badass? Here he is. Here he is. This guy's a walking death machine. So to hit AC 4, this guy is AC 4 from behind. Okay, I'm going to give him AC 6 because he's not defending. He's feared. His morale's broken. He believes the god of Frost Giants has come here and personally dispatched his best drinking buddy. It's the worst thing that could ever possibly happen to you. In fact, not only is he doing that, he's teetering back and forth randomly. So what do we have here? To hit AC 0, he needs a 12. These guys are AC 4. That means he only needs an 8. We're going to give him a penalty, a bonus of 2. That means he has 6. So take 2 off the main hand. That's still an 8. That's a hit. And the 7 is a hit. So his damage is beastly. We have to actually use a marker to add it up because it's just so much math going on with this one. In fact, we need to plug a calculator here to keep it legit, right? So I'll put this here so you can see me do the numbers. So main hand and off hand, they're 1d8. Okay, we'll get 2 d8s going. We'll just roll that right here so you can see it. So you have, and each one of those is plus 13. So you have 13 plus 8. That's 21. This is multiplied times 4. That right there is enough to kill a guy flat out. All right. I know that sounds really nasty, but that's what happens when you get a surprise backstab on someone. I don't even need to roll the offhand. So this guy here is wiped out dead. This guy here died of fear. Just gonna put fear here. This guy here is flat out eviscerated. If you're the player, he basically just take both axes and the main hand axe just severs the guy's spine. He just crumples on the ground dead right there on the spot. Doesn't even get a chance to even take a step. So he's done that attack. Eliphanisi can move very quickly. I'm going to have Eliphanisi's going to move as quick as she can over here and open attack this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She moves twice as far as anyone else because she has a 24-inch movement rate. Okay, let's get this out of the way here. That's one thing about the monk that's nasty. Now, she can land hits on this guy. He's just a -2 penalty. To hit AC 0, she needs a 14. These guys are AC 4, but remember, we're going to give her a bonus of 2. So AC 4, she'd only need a 10, so she gets a bonus of 2, but there's no bonuses to her rolls. So it's just a main hand, offhand D20 roll for her. Let me get these percentile dice organized over here. All right, main hand, offhand. So 8, 5 or higher means any of these on 13 or higher, there's a stun going on. There's a 10, there's a 9, no stuns. Those are both hits. The damage isn't that incredible on her. It's 2d6 plus 1, basically. 2d6 plus 1, both hands hit. So that's a 6 and a 7 plus 1 is an 8. So we have an 8. And the other damage for that, 5, 6, 7 is 8. 8, that's a total of 16. Easy enough. Let's keep this legit right here. Take 80 and take 18 off of that. That puts us down to 62 if I'm not mistaken. Let's just do this legitimately, right? 80 minus 16, 64, excuse me. All right, 64. Math is hard. All right. This guy, she hits him, but he's not stunned. That probably shocks him. He's like, oh my God, what's happening to me? This guy's going to try to run. So right when that was happening, remember I said she was going to use our Staff of Storms and cast Ice Storm. So let me let you see this. This is an artifact item. She's only used it once in a full adventure. 5 times per day she can cast Ice Storm. All right. Now let's just show you the Ice Storm spell real quick so you can follow along with this. So we're just going to do Ice Storm here. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Now let's get this a little smaller. Heat Metal, no. There we go, Evocation. This is a 4th level magic user spell normally. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can read the details. Now the way we have it on the artifact, as you see right here, the Staff of Storms artifact, Ice Storm 5 times per day. It's 5d10 for 3 rounds, but there's some tricks to the way Ice Storm works. So when you cast this, in this case she's channeling it from her staff, a hail of stones pounds down in an area in a 4-foot diameter and inflict 3d10. This one does more damage than that and allows her to do it a certain number of times a day, and that's it. Any creature within the area effect of the Ice Storm can be made cause driving sleet to fall into the area, blind the creature in the area effect. The duration of spell, the ground becomes icy, slowing their movement by 50%, making it 50% probable the moon creature will slip and fall. They did a really good job with this in Neverwinter Nights, the first one. If you ever played Neverwinter Nights, even though it's the 3.0 or 3.5 version of the game, of the game, they did a great job with Ice Storm. So 5d10 damage is literally really nasty. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 d10s, and let's just roll damage on this. It's going to do this once every round for 3 rounds in a row. Okay. So here's and she's gonna center it right here. Okay. So there's the first one. Let's see what we got here. We got 8, 9, 10. Another 10 is 20 and 7. Sorry, I rolled that over. That was a 10. So we have 27 for this first round of damage to everyone on screen. We've got this guy here who's already who's at 64. So let's just take 27 off of him. That puts him down to 37. Okay. So the 64 guy goes to 37. And this guy here, 80. Down to 53. Yep, that's what it is. 27. 53. Okay, he's damaged. Now, the spell. Let's go back to it again. It has an area of effect. Get rid of the search bar. And an 8-inch diameter can be made. Okay, can be made. That's a key phrase there. Not must be made or will be made. It can be made to cause driving sleet to fall in an area. So in this situation, she's going to control the spell to just do an appropriate area effect like this to damage anyone in this area. So this is a 5, 10, 15. So she's doing it like a 15-foot radius, and she's controlling that. So because she's controlling that, there's no need for her to worry about making the hitting the rest of the room. So this guy got damaged. This guy got damaged. This guy's morale broken. The monks jumped him. Vrinjar's just slaughtered this guy. Druid's going to be able to filter into the room. I'm going to have what's this girl's name? Mercede. Mercede next. The Druid's going to come to here. Mercede comes to here. Here's Zalaris, and our cleric's coming up the rear, and everyone's starts slowly but surely getting into the chamber now. We still have this vision of this god. It's going to run forward and take a swing at this guy. Okay. Now this is just to continually try to fool everyone, right? So it's going to attack as if it's a monster and do damage to you. So at this point, the illusion will hurt you if you believe it, but we did a morale break on these two guys. So these guys are running. Let's do this. We're going to give an initiative roll to these guys. They're not totally victimized by the spell. Let's give them an initiative roll versus their god vision. Okay? Because remember, it's not going to damage them. Okay? So what do you got? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a tie. So basically what happens is this apparition, they don't really believe it, but they don't understand what it is. It chases them into the room. So let's do an initiative roll for... she's channeling with the staff. She's going to stand her ground and just continue to channel. She's not going to break her ground. This guy's going to try to run past her. 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy's going to try to break as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's right in front of Obscura. That's just enough for her to... Now, this guy may have been affected by the slow effect, okay? Cause its area effect, look on the right-hand side here. Duration of the spell to cause the ground in the area to become an icy slow move by 50%. Okay, so this guy didn't go as far, so he only makes it to here, and he only makes it to here. 50% probable they will slip and fall when they try to move. That's a 50% percentile check. Let's just use this die, percentile die here. We'll do it for him first. 50% or less, he falls. When you do a percentile check, you say, hey, there's a 20% chance for you to win. You roll a d20, 20 or less, you win. All right, 50% or less. 83, he doesn't fall, so he does continue his movement out of the area of effect. She should have made it bigger, but she didn't realize that. Let's give this guy a 50% chance to fall too. 45, he slips and falls. So what we're going to do is just going to put a little marker on him to have him prone and fall into the ground. She's going to continue to channel the spell, and I'm going to have her turn in place and redirect the spell to hit this area here and maximize the radius. 5, 10, 15, 20 to have it be a 20-foot radius like this. But while she's doing that, I'm going to give this guy 1, 2, 3, 4 movement, and then the spell's going to hit right next to where she is. Now, let's do the movement for everyone that's in the back. Elephantese has a high movement rate. She can move twice as fast. She's not affected by the spell's effect. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She's almost in range to catch this guy. We're going to let the Druid go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to have Vrinjar just finish this kill. He's going to jump over the table for 1, and then jump down to here 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to have Zaldus come run around the table. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mercede. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the cleric. 1, 2, 3, 4 on top of the table. All right. Let's get some of this chicken scratch out of the way that doesn't affect us anymore. So this apparition is just going to fade away from view. It's no longer on the screen. No one believes it's really there. It's not going to run down the hallway and pursue the guy. I'm just going to have this duration stop because the people that were affected by it, only they see it. It's not like this apparition is going to run down the hallway and wake up the whole party down there, okay, or the huge wassail thing going on. Let's just turn this a little bit like that. There you go. All right, so now the second part of this ice storm, the second round is 5d10 damage. And let's be sure to actually roll 5d10 and not 4d10 and forget about it, okay? So we do 4 of these plus an additional one. So let's add this up first and don't forget the additional one. So 10, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, plus 4 is 26. And we get to do 5d10, one more. 26 plus 2 is 28 damage. Let's get this guy's little sheet out here. 28. This is the guy that's now stunned. This is the guy that slipped. 56 minus 28. That puts him down to 28 health. And 50% chance to be slowed. or is slowed. Let's verify our spell again. Just slows the movement by 50%. So he'll only be able to move it at 1, 2 in his next turn, but it's not his turn to move yet. This guy's here on the ground. Rinjal's just going to come right over here, 2, 3, and eviscerate this guy and surprise backstab damage, quad damage him from behind. I'm going to have him do the roll anyway, just to see what kind of damage he does. Maybe we'll get a double damage roll and get it done really quickly. With this guy slipped and fall on the ground, he's prone. There's no way he can miss unless I roll ones. I'm only rolling to see if there's a 20. There's a 19. That's nasty. Let's give him quad backstab damage on that. Add 13 to each one of those. So you got an 8 plus 3 is 8. And 8 plus 13 is 21. Times 4 is 84. This guy's dead. No way he's going to live through that. I'm going to cause him to spend 2 segments finishing this, okay? As a free coup de grace type of slaying. The druid gets a chance to move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mercede, 1, 2, 3, 4. The cleric's going to remain in position. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Zalaris. And she's just going to stop channeling the spell and back and jump on top of the table. And then Eliphanestus can get attack on this guy from behind as he tries to flee down the corridor. Now that everyone's moved down here, they all get to hear the awesome party tunes in the background, right? So let's just see what our tavern party that's happening in the background here. So we're just going to turn this up a little bit. There we go. So this is where it's going to get really nasty. Because if they all stick their noses in this doorway and a couple people in the big party hall happen to see these dummies sticking their noses in the doorway, this is going to be the nastiest fight in all eternity. They may have to make their stand at this curtain. So let's go ahead and give Eliphanestus her chance to whack this guy from behind. Let's get her sheet up first of all so you can see her. So these guys are AC 4, as usual. Normally, if he was actively defending, it would be, what? She would only need a 10 to hit him. Let's pull this out a little bit. And we'll move this down so you can see a little bit better here. There you go. A little bit better. Now you can see the doorway. Now we're talking. Magic camera. Need a dog cam. That'd work much better. Now I'm going to move this over here and out the way a little bit. So she would only need a 10 to hit him, but I'm going to give her not a penalty, but a bonus of 2, so she needs an 8. Okay, there's no offhand, no main hand / penalty for monks when they're open hand attacking. So we've got another D20 around here. Give her the purple and the blue one. A 2, a complete miss, and a 5, a complete miss. That's totally unfortunate. So she tries to do like a flying kick and a punch, but the guy's moving, and but he's moving slowly. So 1, 2, he can move 2, and she can actually follow him and give everyone else a chance to move as well. He's occupied finishing this blow. I'm going to have the druid go 1, 2, and jump on the table with Obscura. Mercede can charge forward and go 1, 2. And as soon as she sees this and sees the hallway, she goes, whoa, stop. And Zalaris goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have the cleric going, what's going on? 1, 2, 3, 4. So everyone's like, wait a minute. And she's like, don't chase, don't chase. So Eliphanestus is already in the height of passion here attacking. She's going to do 2 more attacks on this guy, right in the doorway, right in the clear line of sight of the entire party, if anyone's facing that way. Fortunately, everyone's facing the other way, okay? So let's just do this for you real quick. I want to show you something here from the DM's perspective. So this is the room that we're talking about, this room 11. This room that we're in right now is room 10. This upper section is the area where you saw the, this is where the curtain is. See where my little cursor is right here? Right here going back and forth? This is the curtain. That's here. We added this detail in here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 150 feet away from, so Eliphanestus is standing back here fighting. The aperture opening of this means that whoever's sitting in this area here may not detect it unless this guy yells out or something. And this might be a great time for Obscura to make sure that doesn't happen. But Eliphanestus can get her 2 swings on him, okay? You ready? 8 or higher. A 15, that's a stun. A 2 is a complete miss. So maybe she right hooks this guy and hits him in the back of the kidneys and gets a stun off on him. Let's just give him a d6 roll. That's a 6 times 6. Each one of those is a segment. That's a 36-second stun. I'm going to have this guy just stumble and fall to the ground. Let's just put a little, happy child's magnet over his head. He's stunned in the doorway and falls down. Let's do a roll to see if anyone in the party, in the big wassail room, recognizes the fact that some dude just got punched in the back by a little kid with red hair, wearing a bunch of flowing robes and no armor. So here's how we're going to do this. I know the seating arrangement for the other room. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what that is again, so you can understand. In fact, I've got it right here on my phone. I'm going to show you a picture of my phone that lets you see the room. That way I don't have to draw it or anything. Alright, where is that picture of that room? Here it is. Okay, let's see if we can do this like this. This is the maps laid out on the floor. I'm going to refocus the camera here for fun. We're improvising. This is not an iPad. Okay, so we'll use a pen to point out where everything is. So this is the same, let's turn this the same direction that you would see it, okay? So this is the same direction that you would see it. Kind of crazy, isn't it? So this is the doorway where Elephanisi is stunning this guy. And there's a table. There's 2 tables here that just have stuff on them, okay? In fact, we'll zoom this in a little bit. These are all the markers of what's in the next room, okay? The 2 guards that are here are the ones that just moved into the other room from before. That means these guys here, these are hill giants. There's 4 hill giants sitting there facing the wrong way. This guy's facing the wrong way. There's a huge pillar here, so she's pretty lucky. So this is probably about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 feet away. Now this right here is a fire giant, a fire beetle in a cage for a light source. So they would have to turn around and look past that to see her stunning a guy in the doorway. I'm going to see whether this guy made a noise or not. Let's roll. If you can see this kind of blurry, the focus of the background. Let's give a chance to see if this guy made a noise, and if now that he's stunned, what everyone's going to do about it, okay? If this guy makes enough noise, these dudes in the back may notice and turn around and come try to do something. Nasty, huh? All right, cool. Let's just figure that out. Let's get our focus back under control here. All right. What's the best way to do that? DM's got to make a roll. Does this guy cry out? How about just 50% chance, right? Let's not be friendly anymore. 50% or less, the guy goes ow and yells out before he's stunned. And if 50% or higher, he doesn't yell. She silently stuns him. Ready? Here we go. 50% or less is bad news. 88. Okay, so she's able to stun him, and he stumbles and falls to the ground, flat on the ground, and he doesn't make any noise. But guess what? Vrenjar, 1, 2, 3, 4. She's like, get back. Mercedes like, get back over here. Elephanisi turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The cleric says, pull back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zoller stands his ground. Obscura says, get that body out of here. The druid's like, get that body out of here. Vrenjar, pull it. 1, 2. Actually, you know what? He's not going to take a chance to hide and shade. He's going to run straight to the body and grab the body and drag it down the hallway. Now, you may say to yourself, my goodness, how the devil can he do that? Well, that's because he's wearing this girdle of fire giant strength. He can carry an additional 7,500 pounds. His Bimbar lift gate number goes up to 80%. So it's like, how could I drag a dead person on the ground? This is like someone twice as big as me dragging a dead person on the ground. So he's going to drag this corpse and pull it all the way up this corridor here. This guy's stunned, and I'm going to give him a saving throw to see if he comes out of being stunned, okay? Now, the fair way to do that would be this. Let's get a little DM screen up here. Let's do saving throws. Saving throw table. Here we go. Do it as a fighter. It's a 10 hit dice fighter, basically. That's the hit table. Sorry, let's get the saving throw table. Let's just give him a saving throw versus paralyzation. Level 10 fighter. Paralyzation need an 8 or higher. If he rolls an 8 or higher because he's being moved and dragged on the floor, he will sort of wake up. A 10. So this Frost Giant starts to wake up as he's being dragged. He's like, hey, what's going on? He's being dragged face down by the feet, okay? So he starts to wake up. Let's do an initiative roll to see whether he can put his hands on the ground and try to post up and stand back up again. So it's going to be him versus the party. Fortunately, that happened here. So his initiative roll for that situation is 4, 4 is 8, and a 5. That's a pretty good roll. 8 and 5 is 13, if I'm not mistaken. And the party's initiative roll is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this guy's able to put his hands on the ground. Vrenjar can try to wrangle and continue to pull him. Elephanisi's like, pull him into here. Mercedes like, pull this guy into this room here. She runs back into this room and sets up shop here. Zollers comes around the corner and sets up shop over here. The druid follows and collapses into this room as well. And Obscura comes into this room. and sets up over, let's put her over here. So Vrinjar is able to forcefully drag this Frost Giant, who's now bucking and screaming and trying to stop. Everyone has a chance to do something here. What are they going to do? Let's give this guy a dexterity check to see whether he can break free of Vrinjar's grasp. Remember, he's being dragged face down. So the only thing he can really do is put his hands on the ground and try to lift himself up, or try to twist around and maybe take a swing at him. When he was stunned, I'm going to say he undoubtedly dropped his weapon. He's not gripping his weapons. He's not going to be able to reach up and swing and hit him. So everyone else is in a position to kill this guy right here on the spot. So let's make it fair. How can we do this? How can we do this? Let's give him another initiative roll here. If he wins the initiative, then he's able to, when Vrinjar stops dragging him, he's able to twist and get back up to his feet, okay? Someone like an MMA fighter that's been knocked down. So his roll is that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The party roll is a 10. He's a 4, 5, 6. So he turns around to get back to his feet. But the moment he does so, everyone around him now gets to have an attack, and I'm just going to go right around the clock here, okay? Actually, let's go clockwise. We'll do Druid, Cleric, Zalaris, Vrinjar. Actually, I won't let Vrinjar attack him because he's still trying to hold on to him. Then we'll do Mercede, then do Elephantisi. So they should be able to kill him in one melee round. Be a test of DPS race, right? Let's do the Druid first. Let's get her up. What does she need to hit? That's gonna make it. This will make it AC 5. Okay, so she get a bonus of 1 because the guy's not actively defending yet and has no weapon to defend himself against. So normally she only needs a 12 to hit AC 5. She only needs a 7. So 11, she hits him. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna write all the damage here to the side with a pen. Now her damage is gonna be 1d8, and it's +2. So it's only 4. So there's a 4. So it's gonna do a running total here. The cleric takes a step forward. And Tola is his name. He's got a flail to hit AC 0. He only needs a 10. To hit AC 5, he only needs a 5. So let's give him a roll. Just a 3. He completely misses for some odd reason. Let's give Zalaris his jab. He'll use a powerful stab with his glaive. To hit AC, he can only miss on a 1. Okay, can only miss on a 1. A 3, he hits it. It's 1d8 for him. That's a nice roll. 8 plus 5. Is what's that, 8, 9, 10, 13, and then the burning damage is 4, so that's another 13 and another 4. Okay, and who do we have next? Vrinjar couldn't attack. We're gonna let Mercede take an attack. She's using a two-handed or Zweihander. She can only miss on a 1. She hits on a 16. Her damage is 3d6. Excuse me, 3d6 plus 5, correct? Yeah, 3d6 plus 5, because she has a bonus for the strength of 16 strength, and plus 4 is Zweihander. So we're going to add 5 to this. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus 5 is 15. So that's 15. And lastly, Elephantisi is going to get 2 open hand attacks. They might re-stun. Okay, that's the one thing you have to remember here. In fact, she's going to, if I was a player, I'd say I'm trying to stun this guy. I want to knock him unconscious. You're going to hit him in blows to the head, Conor McGregor on Aldo style. All right. So she only needs to hit this guy AC 5. She would normally need a, she only needs a 9, okay? She would need a 14 to hit AC 0, but the guy's AC 5, so you take 5 away from it. She only needs a 9. If either one of these rolls is 14 or higher, there's a stun. Oh, no stun. So she needed a 9, right? That was a miss, and this is a main hand that's a hit. So it's 2d6. Her damage is 2d6 plus 1. So 6 and 5 is 11, plus 1 is 12. So there's 12. That's a lot of damage, but this guy's not dead yet. He's like, it's like the guy from Monty Python. I'm feeling happy. So let's total this up real quick. What do we got for that? We'll just use our handy mathematical calculator here. All right, so 4 and 13, that's 17. I know off the top of my head. This is 17, this is 19, and then this is 12. 17, 19, and 12. 17 plus 19 plus 12. 48 damage. That's not bad. The guy's not dead yet. Just take that away from 80. Reverse it because it's not a negative integer, so it's 32. This puts this last guy down to... Ooh, this guy was at 28 already, wasn't he? He's dead. They did kill him. This guy got away. Okay. Good, so he's dead. That was pretty dramatic. Could have, things have gone very, 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 very wrong there. Very wrong. Very, very, very wrong. That's pretty nasty. So we're at the 1 hour mark, 1 hour and 10 minute mark. We're going to stop right here before we do anything else. And right before we stop, this is what's going to happen. Out of nowhere, this Ogre Magi appears floating in the air in gaseous form and materializes, and he's already flying way up and high in the ceiling. And that gets everyone flat-footed, okay? So we're going to roll for initiative for surprise check. So the party needs to roll higher. Bad guy gets the black dice. These guys get the 6-sided dice. Whoever wins is going... If the party loses this die, they're surprised, okay? I'm going to give this guy a bonus of 5. So he rolled low. And what does the party get? So his number is 4. Yep, 4 plus 5 is a 9. And the party rolls a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's a flat-footed tie. Now let me give you a sneak peek at this, okay? Where's our... Here we go. Ogre Magi. These guys are nasty. So they don't have a lot of health, but they do a lot of nasty stuff. There is a room. This is one of the fellows that went by earlier. There were Ogre Magi in the big party, and I remember I showed you that earlier. In fact, let me see if I can get that picture up for you earlier. There was a room the party hasn't gone to that has... there are Ogre Magi sitting at one of the tables here. In fact, let's turn this way for you. Again, I'll refocus this. And we have to get that music turned down. It's just crazy. Is that going to focus what? Let's focus this. There we go. So, if you're facing the way you're facing with north is top, you have the huge king sitting on his throne. You have all these people sitting over here. Now this table over here, you'll notice that there is a party right about there. Okay? There is a party of Ogre Magi sitting here. A man and a woman version of Ogre Magi with these two Frost Giants right in front of the table where the Frost Giant Grugnur King is sitting with these 3 giants here. There's a Fire Giant Emissary, another Frost Giant Jarl from another kingdom that the other 2 guards were members of, and over to their left here to the east, 3 more Ogre Magi. So the Ogre Magi have been doing some kind of negotiations or alliance pact or whatever, but this is one guy from the scrub lackeys. Okay, so we have these lackeys that were back in the room that is north of here, which the players never investigated. Well, I'll just show you that real quick just for fun, because it's always fun to see how things happen. The room up here, room 6, they never investigated this room. We have it all drawn, ready to go. There was a curtain concealing it. They ran into this entire room, did all this fighting, and they never went up here and checked behind them. That's why this one Ogre Magi was able to go into gaseous form and come down to here. Now, whether he has alerted his comrade or not remains to be seen. Boy, this guy's going to pop out of invisibility directly in front of the group, and he's going to start wailing away. So here's what the deal with these guys are, right? So Japanese Ogre Magi, they're based on Japanese mythology. They have the following abilities. This is what's nasty about them. They can fly. So he's flying. So he's up in the air, really high. No one can reach him except with spells or ranged weapons. He can go invisible once a day. He dropped that. He was in gaseous form, and then he went invisible. He went gaseous form, went down here, probably told the other Ogre Magi what's going on. Then he came back invisible. He ran into the room here, followed the battle, saw what happened, flew up into the air, and when he cast fly, he appeared. So now that he's here, he's going to actually cast a ray of cold at the whole party here and see if he can catch them flat-footed. So this is the thing that he can do right here, right? Once per day, they can do any of the following spells. Charm person, sleep, assume gaseous form, create a ray of cold to some of the same dimension as a cold wand. Okay, so you need to look up what a cold wand does in the DM's guide. I'm not going to spend all the time doing that. What I'm going to say is that the ray of cold is an 8d8 dice damage unless you save. And I'm going to say that it just goes right through here, like this. And remember, he's casting this naturally as an ability, like with his hand. So that means everyone in the whole party is going to get hit with this ray of cold. And it's going to do the same kind of thing that you would do with the Ice Storm spell. Everyone will be slowed, but because it's kind of a breath weapon attack, you get a saving throw. And if you fail the saving throw, you're hit with a full damage. If you win the saving throw, you only take half damage. That's how breath weapon saves go. So before we do anything else, we're going to stop right here. Stop right here. This is the first thing that happens. Everyone's caught flat-footed, and then we'll pick up the next episode right at this point, right here. All right. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and things are getting very nasty and heating up very quickly. And we'll be back soon with episode 11, and we'll have to give a cool name for that one as well. Now, once again, last thing I want to say before we jump offline here is that Be sure to check the Patreon page. Remember, there's tons and tons of stuff there on the Patreon page. Share my YouTube channel with your friends. Subscribe. Share comments if you want. I always engage with people that have things to say. And eventually, over time, if you have anything you want to see happen differently, or something you want to ask me how I did it or whatever, let me know and I'll be sure to answer your questions for you. Once again, this is Classic DM. Hope you have a good night and get ready for Christmas because more damage and carnage is coming. Talk to you soon.